Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to VGU Talks. It's TCG Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of TCG Tuesday here on VGU Talks. And it's time to play some card games. Or in this case, at least talk about card games. You see, today, I want to talk about a flaw with Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game. I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic the Gathering. I'm even getting back into the Pokemon TCG as well. Yeah, I am finding that quite tough. What do I think is wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! In its current state? In all honesty, what is wrong is one simple thing. The OCG TCG format split. Now, if you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're confused as to what I mean by an OCG TCG split, allow me to inform you. You see, the OCG TCG split can be easily summed up as East and West releases. The OCG format is only available over in Asia and the surrounding countries in that area, such as Japan. And then the TCG format is normally played over in Europe, America, and mostly the English-speaking and European and American countries. On paper, this doesn't seem like a big idea to get fussed over, but in all honesty, it's actually one of Yu-Gi-Oh's biggest detriments, and allow me to explain why. You see, with this TCG-OCG split, this now makes it so that guys in the OCG region will be able to be the first guys to get their hands on the newest cards and the newest set, whilst all that's happening, us not in the TCG format in the Americas and in Europe, have to wait a few more months for our format to catch up. Or even worse, the European TCG format is even further behind the American TCG format. So technically there are two different TCGs and one OCG, and this just makes it even more confusing. So what does this end up doing for us players? Well, if you're in Asia and if you are playing the OCG format, you have little to no issues. You get the new set, you get the new cards, you get to try them out, and you're the first people to use these cards in a tournament-based setting. If you're in the American TCG format, again, it doesn't seem too bad. Yes, you have to wait a little while for the format to come to you, but that's absolutely fine. By the time the set comes over, you're already up on your know-how as to what the set's bringing to the table, and it's all well and good. And that, although it's a little bit of a pain, isn't as big of a pain as we have it over here in Europe. You see, when it happens over here in the European TCG, we could wait up to the maximum I've seen of anywhere between 6 to 12 months, even 3 years for us to get certain sets or even certain cards over to our place. And that's pretty bad, bearing in mind that you have the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships, and we're currently going through the World Championship qualifiers. The qualifiers literally just finished over in the stateside, and we have a new states champion, and congratulations to him. But because of the TCG-OCG split, and especially the split between the American TCG and European TCG, there are a lot of differences when it comes to formats being played out, and this can really hinder what players are able to bring to the table when it comes to a huge world-based tournament. Now, this is also bearing in mind that the TCG-OCG split is also a result of why so many people play the same deck over and over again, which is another detriment to Yu-Gi-Oh! You see, when a new set comes out, the experts go at it, they make the decks, and when they find out the best deck that works from that format with the recent ban list come in, everyone jumps on the meta. And they literally say, this is the deck that's going to dominate, and if you're not on it, you're not going to win. And that's the biggest problem when it comes to at least pro-level Yu-Gi-Oh! Play. Because let me bring this up for example. The World Championship qualifier over in the United States, the top 8 at this tournament, and I mean the top 8, only 2 of them were unique decks. 6 out of the top 8 decks from the World Championship qualifiers over in the States featured the exact same deck. Which deck was this? 6 out of those 8 decks were Necros. Yeah, Necros. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Necros as much as anyone else, but if there's one thing I prefer when it comes to trading card games, and especially with all the sets that you have available, it should be the variety of decks that get up to that area of play. But then, if you have in your top 8 6 Necros players, one Burning Abyss player and then one player that's not running any of those high level decks whatsoever, there's a problem with your formats. If I compare that with Magic the Gathering's recent tournament being at the Modern Masters weekend, Grand Prix Las Vegas had the top 8 where every single deck in that top 8 was completely different. And that's only in the limited format. So put quite frankly, do I think there is a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh's OCG TCG split, and do I think it is affecting tournament play on a world scale? In my opinion, yes. Because the Japanese guys are going to be one step ahead of us, the American guys are one step ahead of the European lot, and the European lot are the last to be thought of. And quite frankly, the majority of the time, the European guys are left out on many occasions. Now you might be watching this and you might be thinking, oh great, this is another European player being butthurt. No. I'm complaining about this because I am a huge fan of the game. I love the game to pieces, and I love the new sets that are coming out, and I love testing them out in places like DevPro so that I feel like I'm getting myself ready for when they come over here. But in some cases, they don't even come over to the TCG format here in Europe. And that's bad, especially if we want to go to the world qualifiers. Or heck, we want to go over to Japan and face those guys that are in the OCG format and try our best to see if we can't match up against those guys that are one step ahead. Now, do I think they should abolish the TCG-OCG split? In a perfect world, yes, they should. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be severely hard for Konami to rework the system so that everyone's on the same playing field like we have with Magic the Gathering. So I doubt that's going to happen, and if it does happen, it's going to take months to even years to get right. But with that said, I think one thing can be done, and this is more for the TCG format in the States and Europe. We need to reconfigure the TCG format so that guys that are in the US and guys that are in Europe have the same sets come out at the same time, so at least we are on the same playing level. Even if it's a couple of months space between one another for translation reasons or for card name differentiation reasons, that's absolutely fine. But if we can tighten that gap between the American and European TCG split, that would be a huge benefit for Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. And it will also encourage more players to go to a qualifier knowing we're on the same playing level and there's not a massive gap. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my mini rant there and a little bit of a talk about what I think is a flaw with Yu-Gi-Oh! In its current state. As I said, I still love the game, I don't hate it whatsoever, I just think this is such a big flaw, and I personally think it really needs to be addressed by now. It really does. Especially since Magic the Gathering and Pokemon do not have this problem whatsoever. But of course, this is only my opinion. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think of the TCG-OCG split? And all of that jazz. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time for another TCG Tuesday.